The village of Thornwick shimmered under the golden autumn sun at 9:30 a.m., its green hills rolling like a lush carpet embroidered with wildflowers in bursts of yellow, purple, and white. The air was alive with the sweet scent of apple blossoms from the orchards, even as the leaves hinted at turning red and gold. The river wound through the village like a sparkling ribbon, its gentle babble a constant soundtrack to daily life. Farmers plowed the fertile soil with oxen, their calls echoing across the fields, while children dashed through meadows, their laughter ringing like bells as they chased butterflies. Neighbors leaned over garden fences, sharing gossip and fresh-baked pies, the kind of simple joy that made Thornwick feel like a storybook come to life. At the village's edge stood Eryn Voss's stone cottage, its thatched roof golden in the sunlight, chimney puffing gentle smoke that carried the irresistible aroma of melting beeswax. Eryn, 35, with long auburn hair tied in a loose braid and eyes the color of storm clouds, gray, deep, and full of hidden depths, moved with graceful purpose in her workshop. Shelves lined the walls, overflowing with candles, tall, elegant tapers for weddings, their wicks promising eternal love, stout pillars scented with herbs for blessings, meant to ward off bad luck, slender sticks for everyday use, simple yet reliable. But Eryn's true magic was hidden in the flames. When lit, her candles revealed glimpses of the future, brief, mesmerizing visions that danced like living dreams. A farmer might see his fields bursting with harvest, giving him the strength to endure a drought. A young lover could glimpse a happy marriage, fueling their romance. The gift had been passed down from her grandmother Clara, who taught her to whisper incantations into the wax, binding it with threads of time. Eryn's days were a rhythmic dance. She rose with the sun, basket in hand, venturing into the forest where sunlight dappled the paths. Birds sang overhead as she gathered lavender for calm visions, rosemary for clarity, and thyme for strength, the leaves crunching under her boots. Back home, she melted beeswax over the hearth, the fire crackling like old friends chatting. The workshop filled with a soothing symphony of scents, drawing villagers who traded eggs, bread, or stories for her creations. "Your candles bring light to our darkest days," they'd say, and Eryn would smile, her heart swelling with pride. But she kept the magic's shadows secret. Not all visions were kind, and she had learned to let fate unfold, fearing the ripples of interference. A knock echoed through the cottage at 10:45, and Mara Tully stepped in, her auburn hair catching the light like flames, her green eyes sparkling with excitement. Mara, 28 and full of life, was Thornwick's beloved seamstress. Her quilts were masterpieces, intricate tapestries stitched with colorful threads, depicting village legends like the great harvest feasts or the river's mythical guardians. Children loved running their fingers over the patterns, imagining adventures, while adults treasured them as heirlooms. But lately, business had slowed. The village was small, and people could only buy so many quilts. Mara set her basket down with a sigh. "Eryn, I'm planning a trip to the city market. It's my big chance to sell my work and bring back exotic fabrics, silks and velvets to inspire new designs. But I'm nervous about the journey. Can you make me a candle to show if it's worth it?" Eryn's stomach fluttered with a mix of thrill and caution. She knew Mara well, widowed young when her husband, a woodcutter, lost his life to a fallen tree in the forest, leaving her to raise little Anna alone. Anna, 6 years old with her mother's auburn curls and a boundless curiosity, was Mara's world. The city was a day's ride away, promising crowds and opportunities, but also risks, bandits on the roads, exhaustion from the travel, unknown illnesses in the air. "Let's make it special," Eryn said, leading Mara to the workbench. They sorted through herbs, laughing as they chose beeswax with honey for sweetness, to attract good fortune, and lavender for peace to soothe fears. The pot bubbled over the fire, the aroma wrapping around them like a hug. Mara chattered animatedly. "I've been working on a new quilt, patterns of Thornwick's river and hills with hidden stories in the stitches. The city folks will be enchanted." Eryn smiled, pouring the molten wax into a tall taper mold, whispering the incantation. "Let the flame reveal the path ahead with light and truth." The wax set quickly, its surface smooth and golden, shimmering faintly with the magic's touch. Eryn handed it to Mara, wrapped in soft cloth. "Light it tonight alone. Watch the flame closely. It'll show you something of your journey. And remember, visions are guides, not destinies. They help you see the road, but you choose the steps." Mara's eyes lit up as she paid with silver coins from her pocket. "You're a true friend, Eryn. Your candles always bring luck. I'll come back tomorrow and share what I see. Maybe it'll show me striking it rich." She hugged Eryn tightly and left with a wave, her step light and full of anticipation, the candle tucked safely in her basket like a precious gem. As the sun dipped below the hills, turning the sky a fiery orange and casting long shadows across the meadows, Eryn tidied her workshop. The day's creations, a batch of festival candles scented with cinnamon for abundance, lined the shelves, their wicks trimmed and ready. She hummed a melody from her childhood, a soothing tune Clara used to sing while stirring wax, the notes blending with the crackle of the dying hearth. To end the day, Eryn lit a plain candle for simple light, its flame burning steady and casting a soft, comforting glow on the shelves. But as she stared into it, lost in thought, the fire flickered unusually, drawing her in like a moth to a lantern. The flame swirled, and a vision formed, vivid and sharp as a memory. Mara stood in a bustling city market, stalls overflowing with vibrant silks, spices wafting in the air, crowds pressing close with excited chatter. Her quilt spread on a table like colorful banners, people admiring the stitches, coins clinking as they bought them up. Mara laughed, her face radiant with success, silver piling up beside her. Then the scene twisted. Mara's hand flew to her chest, her eyes widening in shock, a sharp gasp escaping her lips. She crumpled to the ground, the crowd gasping and rushing forward in panic, the market's joy turning to chaos. The flames sputtered to black, leaving only darkness and the echo of Mara's fall. Eryn gasped, knocking over a jar of lavender in her shock, the dried flowers scattering like confetti across the floor. Her heart pounded, hands trembling as if she'd felt the pain herself. This wasn't a vague hint. It was a stark warning, death, sudden and final, perhaps from a hidden heart ailment triggered by the trip's excitement or fatigue. The city was far, the ride bumpy on horseback, the market a whirlwind of noise and heat. Eryn paced the room, the lavender scent now overwhelming, making her head spin. Should she warn Mara? Tell her to cancel the trip? But interfering could backfire in ways she couldn't predict. She recalled Clara's cautionary tale. A man saw a storm in his candle and stayed home, only to lose his barn to thieves who struck while he was distracted. "The future is a river," Clara had said with a solemn nod. "Divert it and the current changes for all, sometimes flooding the banks you meant to protect." Eryn sat by the hearth, staring at the embers, the vision replaying in her mind's eye. Mara's laugh turning to a gasp, the crowd's panic, each detail etched like a scar. If she said nothing and Mara died, could Eryn bear the guilt? But if she warned her and Mara stayed, what of the silver for Anna, the new fabrics to revive her business? The magic was a gift, but tonight it felt like a curse. Eryn blew out the candle, the smoke curling up in lazy spirals, a question mark in the air. Sleep came fitfully, her dreams filled with drowning in wax and flickering shadows of loss. The next day dawned bright and cheerful, birds chirping in the trees as if to mock Eryn's inner turmoil. She went about her chores mechanically, gathering fresh herbs from the forest, but her mind was elsewhere, the vision's grip unyielding. Her candles that day came out lopsided, the wax refusing to set smoothly, as if sensing her distraction. At noon, Mara returned, bursting through the door with a pale face and wide eyes. "Eryn, the candle!" It showed the market, success, crowds loving my quilts. But then I saw myself fall. My chest hurt and everything went dark. Was that death? Eryn's breath caught, the vision had come to Mara too. She guided Mara to a stool by the hearth, pouring a cup of chamomile tea to steady her nerves, the steam rising like a veil. "It's a warning, a possibility," Eryn said, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside. "The flames show what might happen if things stay as they are. It doesn't mean it's set in stone." Mara clutched the teacup, her hands shaking, the silver glinting in the light. "I need this trip. The village is too small. My quilts aren't selling like before. The silver could fix our roof, buy better food for Anna. But if it kills me..." Eryn hesitated, the dilemma clawing at her like thorns. Tell her the truth, or let fate decide. She thought of Clara's words, but also of the light in Mara's eyes, the hope that drove her. "Perhaps I can make you a protection candle," Eryn suggested, moving to the workbench with renewed purpose. She blended rosemary for strength and thyme for courage, the herbs crushing under her pestle with a fragrant release. As she heated the wax, she poured in a stronger incantation, her voice low and fervent. "Light this each night on your trip. It'll watch over you like a guardian flame. And see the healer before you go. Tell him to check your heart just in case. It might be nothing, but better safe." Mara's eyes lit up with relief, a spark of her usual fire returning. "You think that'll help, shift the vision?" Eryn nodded, handing her the new candle, its surface etched with protective runes. "It could. The magic responds to action. Be careful, rest often, and listen to your body." Mara hugged her tightly, the scent of lavender clinging to her cloak. "You're more than a candle maker. Eryn, you're a friend. I'll be cautious, I promise." She left with a determined stride, the candles tucked safely away. Eryn watched from the door, a knot in her stomach loosening slightly. Had she done enough? Too much. The magic's light felt a bit brighter, but the shadow of doubt lingered. As the week progressed, Thornwick buzzed with preparations for the harvest festival. Banners strung between houses, pies baking in ovens, and music practices filling the air with lively tunes. Amid the excitement, a new face wandered into the village square. Jasper Reed, a lanky young man of 24 with a worn lute slung over his shoulder and a backpack bulging with the remnants of a wandering life. His clothes were patched and dusty, his dark hair tousled from the forest paths, and his blue eyes held a faraway look, shadowed by regret. Jasper had been part of a traveling troupe, enchanting crowds with his melodies, but a heated argument with his partner over a stolen song had shattered the group. He'd been wandering since, playing for scraps in taverns, his heart heavy with what-ifs. Jasper stopped at Eryn's stall in the market, drawn by the scent of her candles. "I've heard of your magic," he said softly, his voice carrying a melodic lilt even in speech. "I lost my troupe, my music feels empty." "Can a candle show if I'll find my way back?" Eryn, still preoccupied with Mara's trip but touched by his story, nodded. "Let's see." She crafted a sage-infused candle for inspiration, the herb's earthy scent filling the workshop as she whispered the incantation. That night, Jasper lit it in his borrowed room at the inn, the flame showing him on a grand stage, lute singing to a cheering crowd, then fading to silence with a broken instrument, a warning of lost passion if he didn't act. Eryn shared the positive vision. "You'll play again, but you must keep trying. Join the festival rehearsals, start there." Jasper's eyes brightened. He followed her advice, practicing with the village musicians. His jigs brought smiles, his ballads touched hearts. At the festival, his performance was the highlight, fiddles dancing with his lute, villagers clapping and stomping feet. An old troupe member passing through recognized his style and approached. "Jasper, we've missed you. Come back, we can fix things." They reconciled over ale, planning a tour. Jasper thanked Eryn with a private concert, his music now vibrant. "Your candle lit the fire in me again," he said, the broken lute vision averted by his courage. Another villager sought Eryn's help amid the festival buzz. Tom Harrow, a stout farmer of 40 with a booming laugh and sun-weathered skin that crinkled like old leather. His fields had suffered a dry spell, the crops wilting under the relentless sun, threatening his family's winter stores. "Eryn, I need a candle for a good harvest," he said, his voice hopeful but edged with worry. "The river's low, the soil cracked, can't lose it all." Eryn, encouraged by Jasper's success, crafted a candle with time for growth, the herb's fresh scent invigorating as she molded the wax. The flame, when she tested it privately, showed ripe wheat waving in the wind, golden and abundant, then a sudden drought turning it to dust, a stark warning. She shared the bounty vision, but added gently, "Conserve water, dig irrigation channels from the river. It could make the difference." Tom nodded, his eyes lighting with determination. "I'll do it." He rallied neighbors, and together they dug the channels, turning it into a village effort with songs and shared meals. At the harvest festival, Tom's wheat was the star, baked into pies and breads that everyone raved about, their sweetness filling the air. Rain came soon after, filling the river and averting the drought in a miraculous downpour that had villagers dancing in the puddles. Tom gifted Eryn a basket of fresh produce, his grin wide as the horizon. "Your magic, and a bit of hard work, saved my farm. Thornwick's lucky to have you." The festival was a whirlwind of joy. Lanterns bobbing like fireflies, fiddles and Jaspers lute-weaving tunes that had everyone dancing under the harvest moon. Pies and cider flowed. Stories were told around bonfires, and Eryn joined in, her worries about Mara eased by the community's spirit. The magic felt alive, a force for good. A week later, as Eryn tended her herb garden under a blue sky, a rider delivered a letter, the post a rare treat in Thornwick. Mara's handwriting danced across the page. "Dearest Eryn, the market was wonderful. The crowds loved my quilts. I sold everyone, made enough silver for months. Felt a twinge in my chest one day, but I rested with your protection candle burning bright, and it passed like a cloud. The healer in the city checked me, found a small heart issue, but it's treatable with herbs he prescribed. Your gift saved me, I knew to be careful. Can't wait to show you the new fabrics, silks in colors like the sunset. Forever grateful, Mara." Eryn wept with joy, clutching the letter to her chest, the sun warming her tears. The vision had been a warning, and her gentle nudge had shifted it without harm. With Jasper's music echoing in the village and Tom's harvest feeding families, she saw the magic's true power, not just to show the future, but to inspire action that changed it. From then on, Eryn was more open, using her candles to guide with care, her light a beacon in Thornwick. The village flourished, the candle maker's legacy burning brighter than ever, a tale of hope, friendship, and the magic in everyday choices.